Fever and Caitlin Clark, but I don't like it. I am now, look, I've had my reasons for being real hard on Stephanie White because I don't know what kind of agenda is going on there. There's been signs over time. There's been two key signs over time that would tell you Stephanie White might just believe that her Indiana Fever team is better without Caitlin.
Caitlin Clark just threw the entire 2025 season into chaos, and the internet is losing its mind quicker than a bargain toaster shorting out. With just one comment, she's managed to send fans into a frenzy. Some are celebrating, others are panicking, and plenty are spinning off into wild theories about sponsorship deals or even astrology. This isn't just another headline you scroll past. No, this is the kind that grabs you by the head, shakes you like a maraca, and screams, "Pay attention, because everything you thought you knew about this season just got turned on its head."
Yeah, I mean, I think just having conversation with her and collaborating, and we knew that West Coast road trip was going to be a big one to see where we could get and how far we could get. And I think at the end of the day, she's been working her butt off to be able to get back, and we've kind of run out of time to be able to do it in a safe way, in a safe manner. And you know, I think we've all been very open and upfront with her long-term health and wellness is the most important thing. And you know, to be in a position that you need to be in to play at this time of the year, we just ran out of time to get her there.
Steph, what stood out to you about Caitlin and kind of the array of emotions she probably felt as you came to this decision?
Yeah, I mean, it's frustrating, number one, just all the injuries that she's had. Obviously, I wouldn't speak for her, but and the amount of work that she's put in to position herself to be able to play, and then to, you know, have to ultimately make this decision. There's disappointment. There's the obvious frustration that's come with not being healthy really for an entire season. But ultimately, you know, I think the big picture is the most important thing, and those are conversations that we've continued to have. You know, and the message has continued to be that you know, it's not her long-term health and wellness and her being 100% when she's ready to go is the most important thing.
I'm curious before.
Hey.
And here we are, facing the unthinkable possibility that Caitlin Clark's basketball fairy tale could be cut short before it ever reaches its peak. Think about it. She's the player who packed every arena, who pulled in casual fans by sheer shooting range and unstoppable swagger. Yet now, she's stuck on the sidelines, looking like the sport's most painful what-if. Let's be real. The rumors are already swirling. Is this truly the end? Could a single injury wipe away the hype, the records, the jaw-dropping highlights, and leave her remembered as the most heartbreaking one-season wonder we've seen in years? It's a heavy question.
Seems to be the thing where it's like, you know, we're running out of time to do it in a safe manner, where it's not necessary. I don't think it's necessarily that Caitlin can't play. It's that Caitlin's probably in the same situation as she was when she played before. As in, she came back, played 5 games, got injured, came back, played 4 games, got injured. Am I right in that? 4, 5, 4. Yeah. Or 4 games, then 5 games, whatever way it was. I think it was 5 got injured, 4 got injured. So I think they're scared if they bring back Caitlin now, maybe, that she's going to go and pick up another soft tissue injury. That's my interpretation of what's happening right now. That's what it sounds like to me.
Let's be honest. The sports world moves on quicker than the latest viral TikTok. One year you're the face of the league, the golden star filling every highlight reel. And the next, you're reduced to a trivia question while everyone hypes up the next big rookie. Caitlin Clark's breakout season looked like the launchpad to superstardom, a year that made it feel inevitable she'd become a legend. But now? Now she's staring at a medical report that even the most loyal fans can't ignore, the kind that makes people remember careers cut short before their time. It's harsh, but that's the reality. Sports doesn't care about how many jerseys you sold, how many arenas you filled, or how many kids wore your number. It only cares if you can still step on the court and deliver.
Have lost so many players to injury, but obviously none bigger than Clark. And there was such a wait for this second season after her magnificent rookie season. And then, you know, the anticipation of her possibly coming back, only for that not to happen, takes a lot of air out of the room, obviously takes a lot of energy out of the fans, and is a devastating blow for not just the Fever and the WNBA, but the good news is her career is not over. But it's a tough blow when it all comes crashing down like that. And ever since
Right now, Caitlin Clark isn't lacing up for tip-off, she's stepping up to microphones instead. And let's be real, her presses don't sound like bold comeback promises, they land more like desperate attempts at PR damage control. The tone isn't that confident see you soon energy. It feels closer to a quiet plea, don't forget me while I vanish into rehab limbo. You can sense it, can't you? The spotlight is starting to dim. And the toughest part, Clark knows it better than anyone.
Right, so now, I don't know who asked the question. The young lady, shout out to you. She said, hey, are you guys gonna make an announcement? Like that, I appreciate you at least. You didn't say it as blunt as I would have, but you said it. You asked the question. Hey, because now she's saying, yeah, the plan on this West Coast trip was to evaluate. How you gonna evaluate her if she never had contact? What's the evaluation? She's been able to shoot jump shots. She's been able to run up and down the court by herself with nobody touching her. What was there to evaluate? Now you're pushing it through the weekend, leading us on, having us dangling in.
And of course, the trolls wasted no time. The same people who couldn't even pronounce her name a year ago are now playing armchair doctors on Twitter, handing out medical takes like they've got degrees. Suddenly, Caitlin Clark is being labeled the Greg Oden of women's basketball, and the hot takes are flying before her second paycheck even clears. That's the brutal nature of the internet. If you're not lighting up the scoreboard, you're nothing but target practice. Some stars bounce back, snapping into form like rubber bands. Others? They shatter and never quite fit back together. Nobody, not fans, not analysts, can say which way Clark will go. But the noise is non-stop. Already, people are slotting her in as the sad reminder that hype doesn't equal longevity. And the wildest part? Just months ago, she was torching defenses, racking up highlights like cheat codes, and cruising through interviews with that easy grin, as if she'd solved the game itself. Now, one injury later, the narrative has flipped so violently, it feels almost cruel.
There you have it, folks. My hot take from earlier this year, all of a sudden, not so hot. Caitlin Clark announced that she's going to be out for the rest of the season. Obviously, a nice little post here thanking her teammates, saying she fought back, was in the gym trying to come back. She wanted to, but Caitlin Clark not returning for the rest of the season. It makes sense considering where the Fever are at in the playoffs right now. Right now, they are making the playoffs. They're the 8th seed, so it would be the final seed there. But are they going to make much noise? Chloe Bibby just went out for the rest of the season.
At this point, every Caitlin Clark update feels less like sports coverage and more like a full-blown daytime soap opera. The questions never stop. Will she come back? Will she be the same player? Has her confidence already cracked? Fans aren't replaying her highlights anymore. Instead, they are squinting at medical updates like fortune tellers, hoping to spot a hidden sign. And why? Because deep down, no one wants to face the painful possibility that her peak might already be behind her. The harsh reality is this: not every career ends with farewell tours and standing ovations. For every storybook comeback, there are countless athletes who fade into trivia question obscurity. That's the shadow hanging over Clark right now. And the media isn't helping. They've already cranked up the "was she overrated" cycle, asking if she was nothing but hype. Or worse, if her sudden rise and fall proves women's basketball still can't sustain a true superstar. It's brutal, it's draining, but make no mistake, that's exactly how the machine works.
Is out for the rest of the WNBA season. She had posted this whole statement on Instagram as well as the Fever officially announcing it just now here on this Thursday evening. And there have been some talks about from the Fever staff about her potentially trying to come back, and they had kind of been trying to drag this out as much as possible over the course of this season, but there simply seems to just not be enough time in this season for them to fully feel comfortable in getting her healthy. And the message that has been sent has always been, the most important thing is her long-term health. That is what the Indiana...
In today's sports landscape, an injury isn't just an injury anymore. It instantly becomes a symbol, a headline, a storyline built for TV scrolls and debate shows. Caitlin Clark's knee isn't just a knee, it's been turned into the centerpiece of an argument about the entire future of women's basketball. And here's the harsh truth: she had just one full season before things started collapsing. One magical run. One highlight reel after another. 1 year where she felt like the unquestioned chosen one. But if that's the whole resume, how do we define it? Was it the beginning of legendary greatness, or just a brief, dazzling fling with destiny? History doesn't treat
Biggest
short
relief the
stories
league has
kindly.
ever
It
experienced.
celebrates sagas, dynasties, redemption arcs. Right now, Clark's story is a giant question mark. Can she really come back? Will this injury permanently dim her brilliance? Could her era be over before it ever truly began? And yet, here's the cruel twist. If she never does return, her legend might actually grow larger. The athletes who flame out early are often remembered in myth. Fans cling to the raw promise, the what could have been, more vividly than reality itself. If that's Clark's fate, she could be frozen in time, not as a fallen star, but as the spark that lit the fuse, the one who started the fire, and then vanished.
Finally had the balls to ask somebody, hey, are you guys going to make an announcement? You said you're having a meeting. You had your evaluation on the West Coast trip. Now you're going to have a meeting. Are you guys going to let the fans know what the hell is going on? Because y'all keep collecting ticket money. Y'all keep promoting that she's going to be at this arena and that arena. Y'all keep saying that she's day to day. First we heard she might be back for the Minnesota Lynx the first game we played them a week ago. She wasn't even ready for that. A miraculous ankle injury popped up.
Caitlin Clark might end up as basketball's most heartbreaking what could have been. Remembered forever as the unstoppable force who never got a sequel. And strangely, that might make her legend even bigger than if she'd played another decade and ended up just really good. Sports fans love their champions, but let's be honest, they are just as captivated by tragedies. And right now, Clark, once a storm no defense could contain, has become the most compelling question mark in the entire sport. Her injury could be nothing more than a temporary D2 on the path to a legendary career, or it could be the devastating final line in a story that feels painfully unfinished. Nobody knows. What we do know is that the world is watching, analyzing, speculating, and, if we're honest, almost guilt-to-pleasure savoring the drama of it all. Because here's the scariest headline of them all: what if she never comes back? That's not just wild talk, it's the nightmare echoing through group chats, bar debates, and sports shows everywhere. Imagine it, the player hailed as the savior of women's basketball becoming the decade's most famous what if. The irony is cruel. Like the basketball gods handed us a gift, only to snatch it away before we could fully experience it. So whether this ends in a triumphant comeback or a tragic cautionary tale, one truth is crystal clear. Caitlin Clark's future is no longer just about her, it's about an entire sport holding its breath.
Here we are, the next morning after it was announced that Caitlin Clark would not be returning this season. Something that I think most of us pretty much knew for maybe at least the last couple of weeks. I heavily suspected it for the last, if I'm being real, last month. Although I kept kind of holding out hope because, well, I wanted a reason to keep watching these games. And that's why the Indiana Fever has gotten dogged at as an...
One moment, Caitlin Clark is the headline, the biggest story in all of sports. The next, she's suddenly the cautionary tale every coach uses as a warning about overexposure. And let's be real, the media lives for this kind of arc. They love building superstars into legends, only so they can tear them down for sport. Clark wasn't just another player, she was the golden ticket. She packed arenas nationwide, sent TV ratings through the roof, and turned every highlight into viral gold. But now? The narrative has flipped into pure speculation and sensationalism. Every sports show, every pundit is debating whether her career is already finished. Rehab timelines? Careful nuance? Forget it. This isn't about recovery. It's about clicks, fear, and the spectacle of watching an empire collapse before it could even fully rise. It's harsh, but it's also addictive theater. Because here's the truth, fans secretly crave this kind of drama. They'll never say it out loud, but watching a superstar stumble, watching them wrestle with adversity, has its own twisted entertainment value. So could Clark's injury really end her career? On paper, yes. It's happened to countless athletes before their stories even began. Bodies break. Recovery isn't guaranteed. No matter how disciplined you are, how perfectly you grind through rehab, sometimes your body just won't cooperate. And if that happens to Clark, then all that breathtaking promise, all that historic hype, risks being sealed away in a dusty trophy case under the label, unrealized potential.
A disappointment to a lot of people, she will not play for the rest of the season. Now, what does this mean for her? Rest. big time rest. Get healthy. That's the number one thing. When you miss a full season, it's tough to come back and not be rusty. So I think a lot of the off season is going to be spent rehabbing her legs, getting stronger, and just working towards getting back to 2026 so that she can be healthy and take on the full season.
Here's the terrifying reality. Caitlin Clark's margin for error is paper-thin right now. She doesn't have a decade-long resume to protect her. No mountain of MVP trophies. No stack of championship rings. No endless vault of highlight reels to keep reminding the world that she belongs. All she's got is one season, one breathtaking, history-bending, unforgettable season where she looked like she had already conquered the sport. But here's the kicker. If she can't build on that, her entire career risks being boiled down to a YouTube playlist titled Caitlin Clark's Best Plays Before the Injury. And let's be honest, nobody wants to be remembered as a highlight reel instead of a legacy. That's what makes this debate so complicated. Some people argue her impact is already untouchable. She changed arenas. She sold out games. She turned women's basketball into must-watch TV. But the cold truth? Her resume is still a work in progress, and right now, the construction site is abandoned. And here's the harshest part. The sports machine doesn't stop. While Clark fights through rehab, the league keeps moving. New rookies will shine. New stars will steal headlines. By the time she's ready, if she's ready, the spotlight might not even be there anymore. That's the cruel math of sports. The clock doesn't freeze just because a star is sidelined. Time marches on. And legends? Legends only last if they show up, year after year.
A conversation and a agreement that would have happened between the Fever organization and I assume Kathy Engelbert and the WNBA. We don't want to mess these ratings up now. We don't want to mess those ratings up now, do we? Let's make it look like she's going to come back. So I knew there was going to be a lot of reaction today and last night, overnight. And Amber Cox, the CEO and general manager for the Fever, has released a statement on Twitter X, and it has gotten quite the response from Caitlin Clark.
And maybe that's the craziest twist of all. Even if Caitlin Clark's body heals, even if she makes it back, there's zero guarantee the world will still be waiting. The physical recovery is brutal, no doubt. But the mental battle? That's the war nobody sees. Picture it, going from torching defenses nightly, owning the spotlight, to sitting helplessly on the sidelines while fresh faces take over the very stage you built. It eats at you. It forces soul-crushing questions. Will I ever be that player again? Do fans even care anymore? Did I already peak and nobody told me? Those doubts don't whisper. They scream in the silence of an empty arena. And then comes the crushing weight of expectation. Clark wasn't just another rookie. She was branded as the face of the league, the savior who is supposed to carry women's basketball into a new golden era. Now imagine staring at a shredded medical chart and realizing that future might march on without you. That's not just rehab. That's a demolition of the self. Yet the machine doesn't care. The sports machine keeps grinding. You're expected to smile for cameras, say the right things, radiate positivity, even while your career dangles by a razor-thin thread. Because in sports, the show doesn't stop. Not even when the game itself does.
NBA ratings' worst nightmare just came true because it was just announced that Caitlin Clark will be out for the rest of the season. She's only played 13 games this season, and her most recent injury, which happened back in July, was a groin injury. The craziest part about all of this has been the reporting around her injury. The team has never given her a timetable for return, and literally up until today, the team had been reporting that she was still trying to get back on the court this season. The Fever only have 3 regular season games left in the season before playoffs. Some fans were even speculating that they've just been stringing fans along the whole time because they know that ratings and attendance.
What's truly insane is how a single injury can completely rewrite a legacy. If Caitlin Clark battles back and dominates again, she's not just a star. She's immortalized as the comeback story, the living definition of resilience. But if she can't, then she becomes the tragic headline, the once-in-a-generation phenomenon who had it all only to lose it before ever fully cashing in on her potential. Either way, her name is already carved into basketball history. The only question is whether it sits under heroes or heartbreak. And the impact goes far beyond just her. Sponsors invested millions in her. Broadcasters built schedules around her. The league itself leaned on her as the undeniable face of its future. Take her out of the equation, and suddenly all those polished marketing campaigns start looking fragile. That's how powerful one player became. So powerful that her absence now shakes the foundation of everything built around her. And in a twisted way, that makes her story even more universal. Because who hasn't felt that gut-wrenching moment when something you've worked for gets ripped away too soon? Clark's career might echo louder as the ultimate what could have been than as a decade-long haul of fame resume. That's the cruel truth of sports. Sometimes one shining season ends up being the entire story.
Don't know, Caitlin Clark recently put out a statement basically saying that she is out for the remainder of the season. Sad news for the basketball world. Avid WNBA fans know that Caitlin Clark has been sidelined for weeks, actually months, due to her growing injury. Has been putting a lot of work in, rehabbing, trying to get back onto the court. And some people had high hopes that she would make it back in time for the playoffs, because right now the Fever sit at the 8th spot. Not sure if they'll be able to keep the 8th spot and get into the playoffs, but a lot of people had high hopes that she would make it back in time for the playoffs. I'm personally glad that the Indiana Fever and Caitlin Clark decided to just rest her for the rest of the season and just shut it.
One moment you're untouchable, the next you're painfully breakable. That's the cruel beauty of sports. Legends can be created and destroyed in the blink of an eye. And here's the wildest part. Not even Caitlin Clark knows how her own story ends. Which leaves us with the million-dollar question. Is this really the end, or just the most dramatic halftime pause in basketball history? This isn't about missing a few games. It's her entire future dangling like a soap opera cliffhanger, keeping fans refreshing their feeds by the hour. Either she storms back and delivers one of the greatest comebacks the sport has ever seen, or she slowly fades into the background as the most famous one-season wonder in women's basketball. And here's the harsh truth. By the time she's cleared, if she's cleared, the spotlight may have already moved on. That's the unforgiving nature of the game. But it's also exactly why nobody can look away. Because no matter how this ends, whether it's a triumphant rebirth, a devastating collapse, or a tragic unfinished chapter, Caitlin Clark has already done what few athletes ever manage. She's made herself impossible to ignore. So the real question isn't just if she returns, it's which version of Clark we'll see. Will she be the comeback queen who redefines resilience, or the haunting reminder of a career that ended too soon? Either way, the world will be watching every headline, every update, every whisper.